It's a scintillating win for Arsenal. They blew Chelsea away and they're cementing second place. Yes, there is very jet-lagged, tired sarcasm coming through. Oh, you can kind of see me in the background. There we go. There's Robbie. Should we swing this way? There we go. Oh, now the glasses. Right, I'm making a mess of this, but we're going to power through. Arsenal win. 1-0. It wasn't great. I don't care. I kind of care because it's not going to be enough to beat Real Madrid. And I said on my AFTV fan cam that I need some sort of what's the word? Momentum built, whether it be player performances, whether it be team cohesion, something like that. And I think the first half hour was all right from Arsenal, but my word, we fell away. And we ended the game, I think, with 40% possession. But it's another game. Chelsea haven't been able to beat us on our run against Chelsea is sensational. But look, it wasn't great. The positives are, and we'll go through the match report in a bit more detail. The positives are we basically got ourselves a win that, opened the gap to 9 points on Chelsea, 10 on Man City. If Newcastle win their game in hand, then there's 8 on them. Forest are still 4 points behind. And you look at that and you go, you know what, Arsenal, if you're not going to finish first, my word, don't get dragged into a conversation or be a part of. But it is still all a little underwhelming mid-March to get a win at the Emirates against Chelsea, and you're kind of wondering what it's for. And what it is for is, well, cement top 4. Yeah. So, look, I'm happy we got the win. Let's talk about the game. He went with Merino up front again, with Martinelli on the right. And I think the disappointment in that is, I'd have understood if Martinelli wasn't ready to start, so Ranieri kept his place. I just keep asking, watch along, fan cam, everything. What is the end goal to Merino starting up front? Like, what are we trying to get to there? Because he's never going to be our answer long term. But Trossard as a false 9, as a squad option, maybe could be. Marino shouldn't even be a squad option up front. It really should be injury crisis situation. But now we've got some forwards coming back. And Sterling, supposedly did okay against PSG. What are we preparing for here? I know Sterling wasn't available. So I would have gone for Trossard and the false 9, even if that wasn't our best way of beating Chelsea in this one game, because, he's maybe a bit rusty in that position. I think it certainly our best option for beating Real Madrid and discovering some sort of momentum and trying to do something in Europe long term. So, anyway, he didn't go for that. He went for Marino up front. I'd have gone Ranieri on the right, Trossard up front, and Martinelli on the left. Cool, he didn't. Then the rest of the team sort of picks itself. Timber and Lewis Skelly at fullback, White and Calafiori on the bench, and then Partey, Rice and Ødegaard. Now, first half, look, Martinelli really had the beating of Cucurella. I think Saka's struggled in that battle recently. It's a great battle. I think he's had some joy, and I think Cucurella's had some joy back. Martinelli, I thought, really had the better of Cucurella in that first half, and I think we took advantage of a Chelsea side that were really lacking cohesion. Basically 3 left-footers in their back 4. Reece James playing Fofana at right back, Reece James playing in midfield. All felt a little bit strange from Chelsea. And I thought we kind of wrestled some real control of the game, both physically and technically. I thought, we pressed with the front 5, and then we had a back 5 with Partey dropping deep, sort of pressing on when they did, almost setting traps when they did beat that first line of press. Gabriel, Partey, Saliba, they were onto it really quick. Thought we defended well. Raya, basically had that one moment where Cucurella's kind of volley was kind of not really grabbed properly, and it went wide, and you're kind of wondering, was that going to be a bit of a moment for David Raya? But it wasn't. And other than that, I can't really think of much Chelsea did, certainly on the second half. The winning goal came from Mikel Merino and across the near post. And we saw Rice aim for the near post and a Timber flick on, which didn't come off. I think it was maybe the corner before. Ødegaard goes for the near post and Merino flicks on. I think it's one of those, it was described well by Jack on the watch-along, where it's one of those where either he's flicked on someone at the back post or he's done enough to just find the corner. That's what he did. It's actually a really, really good header. I felt Merino struggled to get into the game and have the kind of influence as a target man and someone to play off. I actually think he's done better at that in previous matches. But I actually thought, it was a really good finish. And huge credit to him for that. And set pieces kind of came up again. We were saying in the starting 11 show on AFTV that we haven't really done our thing from set pieces for a while. But Nicolas Jover's always going to be cooking something new, and clearly the near post is something they addressed or wanted to address in this game, and it worked. So there we go. Arsenal get the win through a 1 goal and a 1-0 win and a set piece. But it wasn't vintage. Chelsea weren't very good either. It was a very low quality game, if I'm honest. Two sides clearly lacking some attacking impetus and probably their best attacking quality. But I didn't think the patterns were great from either side. I think the first half hour, Arsenal played with a decent tempo. They pressed well, and there were some good moments. Martinelli had a cutback that was well defended. He himself should have been on the end of a cutback from Timber, but that was well defended. Rice skied over. Trossard had a moment. Martinelli had a shot after Sanchez gave the ball away. There were moments, but chances, I never felt they were really chances. So, look, I was a bit underwhelmed by Arsenal, but I think we're going to be whilst we're rolling out this front three. But I keep saying to people, the goalkeeper's there. The back four, even with White and Calafiori on the bench, and Zinchenko, you can roll out a really good back four. You've then got Rice, Partey, Odegaard. I thought Partey had a really good first half, and Rice was everywhere. And Odegaard, he did some great things, did some frustrating things. But you've got your first choice midfield there with Merino and Jorginho available, and Nwaneri. So basically, every potential midfielder you could play is available. So the front three, if we can get Partey back on that left Trossard in the false nine, you've then got hopefully Bukayo Saka back fit for Real Madrid. You've then hopefully got, Ethan Nwaneri ready to contribute. He's looked great this season when we have needed him most of the time. And you've hopefully got Sterling starting to do something, but I remain sceptical. But then you're talking about Nwaneri, Saka, Sterling, Martin, Trossard. You're talking about 5 forwards there that aren't Mikel Merino. And if you need to bring on Mikel Merino for some presence, you can. And look, for seeing out the rest of the season, we know it's not enough to win the title. That's done and dusted. That was long gone. But to give you some hope of pulling off a miracle in the Champions League, I've seen a worse set of attacking options go further in the Champions League. Did they beat Real Madrid? That's another question. But football's a funny old game, and at least we can maybe go into that with a bit of quality. For all our problems in the front three, is it title winning quality? I'm not sure. But do we have quality in Saka, Nwaneri, Trossard, Martinelli? Yeah, of course we do. So you hope you get the best out of them, but it's about getting them in the right places. And one of the things, again, I said on the starting 11 video was, I think Nwaneri should have started instead of Merino. So you could argue that's one player, one change. But it's not. It's 3 positions that have been impacted by that particular decision. Because it's Trossard on the left. For me, it should be Martinelli. There's one. It's Merino up front. For me, it should be Trossard. So that's 2. And then, of course, I want Nwaneri on the right, but it's actually Martinelli. And what you've got is a not super pacey touchline winger in Trossard, a box-to-box midfielder playing up front, and a right winger who's really a left wing, has always looked quite uncomfortable on the right. Though I thought Martinelli actually did okay today, to be fair. I thought he looked, for sure, the brightest of the front 3, though Merino got the goal. So all in all, what I'm saying is we have problems. We know it. It's stuff of every match report. I'm going to cover the same things. But I don't think we're miles off having something that can cause Madrid problems. But it also comes in momentum and team cohesion, and it's all got to come from the manager. And I think today was a little underwhelming in terms of, did we look like we had a good attacking plan in terms of combos and 1-2s? Did we look like the players were at least discovering some individual form? Did we look like we kind of had Chelsea where we wanted them? Not really, but we defend really well. We nullify teams well. We are very good at making a game boring. Now, I said that on my fan cam, that sounds like a criticism. It is in a lot of ways, but it's also positive to go up against good sides with very good expensive footballers and be able to make it boring and nullify what they do. We do that well. Can Arteta just coach us between now and the end of the season before we have player quality, and more coaching will need to be done, but can he coach us to build on that, have that platform, and should do a little bit more when we do. But there we go. Anyway, right, I'm jet lagged, I'm tired. I slept 3 hours. Anyway, you don't need to know that. But if I sound a bit delirious, that's why. Look, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who was man of the match? People were asking me, and I just said Merino by default, but would love to know who you think. I thought Timber was good, Lewis Skelly. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, Partey, good first half. But we'll leave it there. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0. Always fun to beat them because they ruined my childhood. So F Chelsea, good win Arsenal. On to the next. But yeah, a game that lacked quality from both, let's be honest.